Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? How's it going, everybody? Hey, I'm excited for this live. Gonna let a few people jump on. We got some incredible information to share, and we got here we go. Sheila's coming on. Yeah, let some people pile in here. Um, Waiting on connecting. There she is.
Hey, how you
Hi.
doing, Darin?
How's it
Hi.
going?
Good. How about yourself? This is
I'm I-
great.
I'm excellent. We are live. Of course, we're live. Um, yeah, it's so exciting, and so this is a brand new announcement for me. Sharing what you're doing and what we're gonna help. I'm gonna help as much as I can. I want you to give a little background, and then we're gonna jump into how people can take action for their own health and eating more plants, as well as a big campaign that you've calculated that is literally going to help the planet, and have people understand the impact that they can have literally by putting the right kind of things in their mouth. But why don't you just unpack, because your background's so fascinating and it's so powerful because of the advocacy and activism that you've already created a lot of change around single-use plastic. So why don't you just jump into that a little bit,
Sure.
and then we'll jump into the hashtag 8 meals program.
Sure. I thanks for having me, by the way, Darren. This is so
Yeah.
fun to be on your Instagram and chat with all your amazing followers. Hi, everybody. I'm Sheila Morovati, and I'm the founder of Habits of Waste. I started Habits of Waste because I kept noticing there's a lot of behaviors out there that we don't really think twice about, yet they're happening, and we kind of have to stop it, essentially. And so my first foray into habits of waste happened to be with plastic straws. I kept seeing a lot of plastic straws at dinner tables and restaurants all over. And I realized that people aren't really thinking twice. They're ordering a glass of water. Sometimes they're not even actually ordering the water. And in comes plastic straws on all of them. And all of a sudden you find that, there's 6 straws for 2 people, but nobody really thought twice about it. And this was way before any of the plastic straw stuff that you hear. So sure enough, my backyard right here is Malibu, and I thought, okay, well, if I can get the city of Malibu to do something about it, then there's a chance that we can get the world to listen, because Malibu is an iconic beach community. So I spearheaded the first plastic straw and cutlery ban in history, which was the city of Malibu, thanks to them. And we were able to basically create an ordinance that anyone could copy and paste, essentially. So it really was a tool to let the ripple effect happen around the world. And I'm really proud of it because that happened in 2018. And just this month, China announced that there will be no more plastic straws in their entire nation. So it began right here in Malibu, and it was a wonderful experience to be a part of. And it just goes to show you that, if you think of something, you just kind of put it out there, and before you know it, it actually takes off. And people kept telling me after the plastic straw ban, like, what about all the cutlery I get every time I order in? It's so annoying. And sure enough, I thought, well, human behavior is such that if you change a default setting, then maybe we can actually do something. So we started cut out cutlery. And we convinced Uber Eats and Postmates to change the default so no one gets plastic cutlery unless they request it. And so now we're working on getting, an ordinance on that in the city of Los Angeles and nationwide on higher legislation. So it's yes, it is very annoying. It's still happening, but we're on it, and you can still participate with us to get the rest of them on board.
That's amazing. And it just goes to show, I was thinking about this today, just because things are, habits or traditions, or in this case, just something restaurants or people do, doesn't mean it's good, or doesn't mean that it can't be changed. And you're such a shining example of just like, wait a minute, we don't need it. In fact, it's detrimental to even use plastic as it relates to eating and surrounding your food and sucking in beverages. It's just a horrible hormone disrupting situation anyway, as well as completely disrupting of the environment. As we know, none of the plastic that's ever been created is gone.
That's
It's
right.
sitting here permeating in our environment and getting in all of our animals and oceans and everything else. And so extremely important. So like when I learned that about you, and then I heard now what you're up to, I was like, oh man, like this is right down the pipe of not only am I a huge single-use plastic destroyer, I just joined the board of a Footprint, who's one of the largest alternatives to single-use plastic on the planet, with plant-based fibers and stuff. So that resonated on a huge way. But then your next campaign that we're gonna fire up right here, and
Yeah.
you've already started. And tell us a little bit about your 8 meal idea.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to share. 8 Meals is a brand new campaign that I just launched, and it's about eating plant-based 8 times a week. How did we come up with eight? It is based on a study that was done by the University of Michigan and Tulane University that really talked about us all having to take part in the plant-based movement. It's not just about the vegans taking all the responsibility, but the truth is that we have to all do a little bit. And so even they showed that even if we were to decrease our animal protein intake by 40 to 50%, just that alone is a huge impact because many people can do that. So basically, I took the 21 meals we eat a week on average, breakfast, lunch, and dinner times 7 days a week, and I cut 40% out of it, and that became 8 meals. So what would happen now is that, if you are able to make that switch from 8 meals a week to plant-based, that's the equivalent of driving a hybrid car for a year. So it is no joke, and it equates to 540 kilograms of carbon that we're actually reducing from, the environment. And I think it's a really doable and attainable goal. I personally have always had a huge challenge with staying on the vegan bandwagon, even though I am knee deep in environmentalism. So I think to myself, like, let's be realistic, Sheila. If I am struggling to stay vegan 100% of the time, what is it that the regular people out there that aren't even thinking about environmental work and don't run a nonprofit, that focuses on this, how are they going to do this? And so I think that this is a way that we can get the general mass public on board. And guess what? There's a lot of tools now that make it a lot easier. There's a lot of replacements if you want to have Beyond Meat or whatever else. And we're also providing support for everybody out there to do this in a much more cost-effective way than you'd imagine. It's just dispelling myths about veganism.
Yeah, and it's such a, it is. It's blown, and it can be overwhelming for people. And so this is a way to kind of take that overwhelm off the table, or
Yeah,
maybe on the table, and really just empower you to, number one, you're directly affecting your life, and I can unpack that just a little bit.
sure.
But it also, with your calculation, it's really then directly connected to how much meat consumption we're consuming or not consuming. And that can mitigate this incredible CO2 off gassing
Yeah,
and methane production. And not to mention, it's just an unsustainable world of subsidies of keeping that meat really
right.
cheap. And it's
Yep.
so detrimental. So just on that little bit alone, there's a great new book. T. Colin Campbell's been a pioneer for 65 years. China study. He wrote a great book, which just consumed like crazy, literally, figuratively, um, called The Future of Nutrition, where he went back 100 years into the myth of protein, how it's been scientifically proven that over 15% of your overall daily intake of animal protein is absolutely turning on the genetic expression or the opportunity to create cancer. So listen, at the end of the day, if you take these 8 meals, it's literally better for your health, and
Yeah.
it's literally better for the planet. And people, I think, reach out all the time, and we always want to surround ourselves like, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? What's the organizations out there that can help with the things that I really care about? Well, this is something, what you put together, Sheila, is something so in tune and aligned that, number one, it's helping your body stay healthier.
Yes.
And there's nothing more intimate than that. as well as with that, the calculation of literally driving a hybrid vehicle without needing to drive the hybrid vehicle, even though that's great too. But you're literally eliminating that amount of destruction in the environment. And if everyone just took that on, it's only 8 meals. I literally, since I talked to you, I've been telling people, I just did a podcast with Lewis Holmes. He's got an incredible podcast, very well known. I literally challenged him on the air, and he's taking it, right? So it's like people are doing it. I've got another meeting in San Diego, the ex marketing guys of Red Bull who you met. Some of them, they're on it. Now they're texting me pictures. So it's literally so powerful that people can take this on, because I think on some level, the destruction, it's happening out there in the environment. You also know the destruction of all this horrible quality of food that people are consuming. And that's where I get really excited. So, so on that, what are, like, how do you see, because this is exciting, because it really hasn't, you're really gearing it up to be a massive movement. And this is like a little sneak peek. We're really showing people we're just on the verge of you're on the verge, I'm on the verge of helping expand this incredible movement. So talk to me a little bit about that and some of the plans and how people can ride this wave.
One of the things I just want to touch on that is that, when I create a campaign, I look for the trifecta. Is it better for you as an individual? Is it going to help your own life? Number one. Number two, is it good for the planet? Okay. And number three, is there a cost savings? So one thing I just want to mention here is that the cost savings is that we are trying to, again, dispel the myth that eating a vegan meal is expensive. So we are putting together an application right now to help people find recipes that really cost, for a family of 4, around $10 or less. Like talking about beans, talking about, really good sources of protein that are nutritious, and they don't cost a lot of money, because many times people are afraid of this because of the replacement products. We don't necessarily need those to have a really good meal. So we're putting together over 200 recipes that involve just the things that you'd normally have in your pantry. And that is one huge piece of the puzzle that I think people are afraid of, this whole lifestyle of eating. And so we are here to, again, show everyone that you can do this. You don't have to have a huge bank account for it. This is actually going to save you money. So that's one. Number two, so once again, in a couple of weeks, we'll have this application ready for everybody to take advantage, create a schedule for yourself, plug in the 8 meals that you want to do, and really learn about the carbon decrease. So you'll have a carbon calculator that you can kind of plug in. We'd really like to see 1 million meals, plant-based meals this year. So we hope that once this launches, we can all put our meals in there together. What we'd like to see people do today is to take the 8 meals challenge and tag a friend, grab a friend. It's always more fun to do something with a friend, maybe a couple friends, and post some of the pictures of your food and show us, show everybody, hey, I made this dinner tonight and look at it. It's beautiful. It's delicious. And it's part of my 8 meals challenge. Join me. And again, starting to create a wider audience of eating plant-based meals that doesn't have any labels, that doesn't have any sort of strict, sort of firm boundary lines that people feel intimidated to cross. This is just about all of us doing a little bit better. I think perfection is the enemy of good enough. And so we're here to say, be imperfect, do what you can. And hopefully 8 meals is something that you can do, and it's truly doable. And so I'm here to invite everybody out there listening, join in, follow us at How Changers, keep on, we keep posting stuff, we keep giving more information. And I think it's a really easy thing to get involved with. That's fun. People really are having a good time with this one.
100%. And it's, listen, one of the keys to health is diversification. This is a great time, right? That, okay, we've kind of burned through some of the maybe not so great intentions of the first part of the year. And this is really an opportunity to drill down on the things that you can do and the diversification and try new foods and all of that stuff. And just, emphasizing that point. Like, here's one tiny example. Organic seeds, right? Broccoli seeds. You can get a little mason jar, get wet twice a day, leave it out in the mason jar, and you can sprout for cents, right? So one of the most powerful plants in the world, sulforaphane, cancer fighting, vitamins and minerals, you can sprout for about 1 cent every serving, essentially.
Wow.
So there's a lot of things that you can do in that. And so when people right now, before it really launches in a big way, so people can basically say, hey, let's sign up, let's tag each other. And what is the tag? Is it hashtag 8 meals?
Yes.
So hashtag 8 meals, send pictures, join this little community,
Yeah.
because community is going to be, you're going to be on a movement here, and we're going to change things from the ground up. Because I don't know about you, Sheila, I don't like to get political, because what I like to do is move forward in a common sense way that helps people and helps the planet. And this is one of those ways. You don't have to sit around and wait for some governor or president to tell you what to do. This is something you can take action right now. It's helping you and your health and your immune system now, as well as it's helping the environment. So you don't have to wait for a freaking policy. You can literally just make a choice. Tag someone else, get people excited, share recipes, because that's fun. If I see another recipe that I see, cool, that looks really good, I'm going to try that tomorrow. So there's a lot of different things that we can do. And I love these movements. And you're such a advocate and a spokesperson for this type of thing, that you literally saw something you can shift, and you did it. And then we just create this little, wave of opportunity for change.
I think people sometimes forget the power that they have within themselves. And I'm here to tell you guys, like, I am the last person who ever expected to be the person that's running campaigns and telling Uber Eats what to do with their default setting. But I'm just saying, take one step in front of the other, and before you know it, you're in this kind of momentum of the universe sort of pushing you forward. And just the group that's here today, every single person here clearly has a social media account. Every single one of you has friends and followers. So you put one thing out there that, hey, I'm taking an 8 meals challenge. I challenge you to do it with me. Who's in? Right here with this group, we can probably touch over 100,000 people. So don't underestimate your voice, because you have the power. We don't need to rely on the government. We don't need to rely on corporations. They are actually looking to us to set their trends. So if we dictate what we're willing to accept moving forward, then that's where the power struggle kind of shifts. And then we're the ones that are able to dictate. So buy more plant-based products, buy more meals like that, buy less meat. Guess what will happen? It's going to eventually shift the focus. So I come into this with a sociology background. That's my degree. Talking about social movements, talking about ways in which we can shift societal norms and behaviors in a massive way. And it doesn't just take one or two people, it takes all of us. And that is why I think 8 meals is so important, because there's really no reason why someone cannot eat 8 meals that are plant-based. I mean, I'm sure we'll have many people out there that are on some labeled diet saying they can't do it. But I'm here to say that I truly believe this is something that is a win-win on all fronts. So
100%. Yeah, I mean, that of course. And whenever someone says can't, they've just eliminated so much possibility in their world. It's a choice. And it's like, listen, we're not here to judge you. I think judgment is plagued all throughout health movement, fads, all of that stuff. That's not the point. The point is educate yourself, even from learning about something like this, how powerful you've consolidated this movement to realize that, wow, you can literally affect your life by eating more plants in a positive way. That is clear. That is 20,000 peer-reviewed research that is out there for over 100 years. That's true. And then through the calculations of the unsustainable animal practices that no one wants to actually acknowledge how horrible that whole system is, right? So just that little awareness, that is so powerful. You can just make that shift. And then I love, when you look at things of like, when you align yourself with your values, with your heart, with your soul, with what you care about, truly what you care about, in your family, what you want for your family. We all want the same things, right? But when you align yourself, I don't know about you, Sheila, but just in this conversation, I'm gaining energy having this conversation because it aligns with my values. It
Yeah,
aligns with what I care about. I care about my health. I care about other people's health. I care about the planet. I care about the animals. And so it's like, yeah, man, let's all kind of work towards a better
truly.
future,
I
right?
also I also want to add right there that I don't believe that we're going to get anywhere by shaming anybody. So I
Totally.
think this is a really important piece of the puzzle that as you all go out there and try this 8 meals challenge, bring your friends in and ask them to join in as in a positive. This is fun. This is exciting. I think shaming anyone out of, eating meat or trying to make them feel horrible about themselves, you're only going to create a wall. This is simply a way to try and just shift the behavior ever so slightly because I believe, just like we did with straws, you open the conversation to more. So if you can try 8 meals, all of a sudden you're like, hey, that wasn't so bad. I actually feel pretty good. Maybe I'll try 10 meals. Maybe I'll try 12. Oh my God, I just went a whole week and I ate only plants. And again, before you know it, so many more people who felt that they're not a yogi, they're not a tree hugger, they're not an environmentalist, can be involved in this type of lifestyle and this type of eating. So once again, we've labeled and created like this wall around who should be doing this. And I really want to start to take that wall down and make it be inclusive for all of us as human beings because we're all the same.
100%. Yeah, and that's a beautiful thing with aligning values with what we're doing. It's like the same thing with the straw. I mean, we all saw, I mean, I don't know, but 50 million people saw that, going back to the straw thing, when that in 2015, when Christine, I forget her last name, the PhD pulled well, she was filming and her colleague pulled the straw out of the
Yes.
turtle's nose, right? The suffering that a full straw was in the nose of a turtle suffering. And it was just one person who wasn't aware that the straw they didn't need, the straw was, there was no recycling for the straw. The delusion is that only 9%, I think that's actually stretched, of all of the
Yeah.
plastic that's in the world is recycled. So the reality, and then you turn the tables to the kind of treatment that animals are going under on a billions a day,
Yes.
it just doesn't feel right as a way to move forward in the way we are as humans. When you really go, listen, in my 25 years of being in this space, there's not a nutrient that I can't find in plants that I would
Right.
need in meat. So I'm like, sorry, I don't feel deprived at all. In fact, I thrive ridiculously. And so that's what we need to do all as a society, because as we push back, even with companies, right? So like you're saying, if all of us took this on, then there's less opportunity for animals to be killed. And then those businesses that are behind it are go, wait a minute, the writing's on the wall. We need to pivot. And by the way, Sheila, I've been having conversations with those big companies. I've been luckily been able to be at the
Good for you.
table.
Good for
Yeah,
you.
and I realize that they do see it. And you know why they see it? Is because people are wanting something different,
Yeah.
period. And unfortunately, many of them are profit centered, but this will hit them square in the nose in terms of their profit if they don't pivot.
Yeah.
So they are very, very big companies that are pivoting as we speak, that I don't believe they're evil per se, right? But it is literally driven by us as individuals.
100%.
And that's the power. And that's why I'm so excited for this movement, for as long as it takes, for all the nearly 8 billion people on the planet. We
Yes.
can really move and change the entire trajectory of these very old and kind of dark systems that we have
Definitely.
in place that are not there for our health at all.
Even the video you posted today about the circles, the red circle and the blue circle, and how he was talking about these traditions and these mindsets that have been embedded so deeply in us, part of the reason that I even had this challenge of going vegan fully was that I was told growing up that I need protein, animal protein, in order to basically live. Like it was like this concept that was 100%, you will literally have no hair if you don't eat meat. And I had all these fears in me. And it is just so old and so embedded. And so again, dispelling all of this, unpacking all of this, where is this all coming from? And realizing like we have to educate ourselves. I always think about this fake person I've created in my mind, and I call him Mr. Joe Barbecue. How can we get Mr. Joe Barbecue to be on board? Is it possible to tell him to go fully vegan? I don't think so, not yet. But I think if we introduce it with 8 meals a week, maybe even Mr. Joe Barbecue will be willing to go there and understand it and try it and open up the door a crack to invite people in who may not have been willing to do this.
Well, Joe Barbecue's having a hard time. Joe Barbecue's, he's having heart disease. He's having high
Yes,
cholesterol.
he is. He needs to think twice.
He can't play with his kids very well. He has aches. He has pains. He's running towards degenerative disease faster than anything. He's creating an environment of cancer and disease and diabetes and all of these things. So Joe Barbecue, he is either going to take this on now, or he's going to wait until he's in the hospital, get the crap scared out of him because he almost died, or he did die and now his family is dealing with his bad habits. And so that's the thing. How are we going to live? What kind of questions are we going to ask ourselves right now as individuals and as society? Because I don't know about you, but I don't want to wait around until life beats the shit out of me.
Yes.
I want to be aware now. And I am aware now of as much as I can be aware now. And if I don't take action on the things that I'm aware of, then what's the point?
Yeah.
Right? Then I go against my values and I go against myself. And that's not the place you want to be. So Sheila, I'm just stoked as hell for you to start this mission and this program. So
Thank
again,
you.
how people can go. So your website, what's your website again?
My website is habitsofwaste.org. And my Instagram, as you guys can see up here, is at How Changers. And really, we want people to follow along at How Changers. We constantly update, post stuff, especially about this app. It will be free. At Habits of Waste, we have a whole page on 8 meals, a whole page on why this is important, the plant-based diet, really giving everybody the tools needed so that if you have any questions of why is this important aside from your health and the costs that you will be saving, but a part of just the entire, picture of what 8 meals is about, it's all on our website. I really recommend you guys share this with your audience. Every single person out there needs to just tell one friend. If you could walk away from this conversation and just tell one friend, it's Habits of Waste, someone was asking, habitsofwaste.org. Just tell one friend and just keep on spreading the word. Again, this is not that hard. And so I think it's inclusive enough that everybody can participate. Just join us. We're excited to have you.
Yeah, that's it. And this is not, you don't have to, give money. We're not trying to sell you anything. No. It's literally straight down the pipe. You can take action. People want to contribute to the greater good, right? This is it. Just like you said, you can share. This video will live on the site on IGTV. So we'll have it up there and people can listen and they can share. And we just continue to create this movement of health of the individual and health of the planet.
And you guys are like the first to hear about it. So we'll be looking back on this video in a few months and saying, remember that conversation they had back at the beginning? And I hope by then we'll be looking back with millions of people on board already. So I hope it's going to be where we think it'll go. And please join us and help us launch this thing.
Millions of plant-based meals and millions of people. That's what we're going for, and that's what we're going to do. Sheila, thank you so much for your work.
We're grateful for you.
Yeah. So this will not be the last conversation, nor will it be the last kind of pushing forward for a new future. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.